Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of the Rifleture channel. What is with all these people that want to ban things? I mean, there's a group of people advocating to ban almost absolutely everything that you can possibly own or do. It just boggles my mind. Now, I want to talk about that in this video. People have the strange idea that by banning objects, we control certain behaviors. And I think we're all mature enough to know that that's not how people work. Banning, sanctioning, or prohibiting certain objects or activities does not necessarily impact undesirable behavior, does it? You know, the world is a complicated place, and it's always changing and evolving. What we do know is that prohibitions on certain objects, inanimate objects, are not necessarily solutions in and of themselves. But a certain type of person will always pursue banning objects as an easy solution to a problem. I think you know where this video is going. But I'm going to try to keep it broad, kind of broad spectrum. So the way I see it is what we're missing is mature, educated, and constructive debate on some of these subjects. And we're not even allowed to have those kinds of debates in our House of Commons here in Canada, because one side of the House, the majority government, just doesn't want to discuss it. They have the power of a majority government, and they're just going to pass legislation willy-nilly. They're avoiding the debate because they know they can't win it. Let's look at it a certain way. Let's look at vegetarians. I've had vegetarian meals. I think they're fantastic. It's just absolutely incredible what a vegetarian can do to vegetables to make them so tasty. That takes skill, talent. But most vegetarians have made the conscious decision not to eat meat or hunt. I mean, obviously, right? But some vegetarians want all meat products banned, or the industry that actually provides meat products to the rest of us, and hunting. They want it all banned. And they justify authoritarianism. That's the way I see it. It's borderline totalitarianism. Because in their minds, it's about animal rights. So you're not allowed to eat meat. What is it about people trying to control other people and what they do? Well, they can justify certain things in their own minds. And quite often they're the grannies knitting sweaters with 15 cats in the house, right? And they're lovely people. And they're warm, loving people. But they're also tricky people that way. Most people, here's another example, when they find themselves in a tricky situation, it could be financial, it could be health-wise, it could be any number of reasons or situations, they're down and out. Let's put it that way. They will explore possibilities, brainstorm solutions to their individual problems, and then they will pursue one of those solutions until they are able to climb out of the hole that they're finding themselves in. Right? They're personally accountable and responsible for their own life, their own situation, and they're going to take control of the situation and fix it. I love people like that. I try to be like those people. And if you know one of those people, I mean, they really are fantastic. But there's a segment of our population that expects other people to solve their problems for them. They're not accountable. They're not responsible. And they expect other people to solve their problems for them. There's a name for that. Now, most of you out there, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can turn the channel. You can choose not to subscribe. Turn the computer off, whatever. But the problem is that when a certain portion of the population, or a certain portion of number of you out there, will pursue having my entire channel shut down because you don't like the message that I'm sending or the manner of which I'm sending it. See, those are control freaks. They don't like free speech. They don't want the debate to happen because it exists outside of their hemisphere of control. They don't like not being in control of certain things. Which is more mature? Is silencing free speech constructive? No, it isn't. Because it stops the debate. It stops our ability to grow. Sometimes our ability to grow requires us to step outside of our comfort zone. Let's use a religious example. If you're an atheist, then chances are you don't go to church. But some radical atheists are almost religious about their atheism. And they'll go to extreme measures to ensure that churches and mosques are closed. And there's no mention of Jesus, God, or Mohammed, allowed anywhere. What kind of a person does that? These control freaks, these micromanagers. Banning things. Banning people. For example, World War II. Japanese citizens, internment camps. Essentially banning Japanese people. Right? They're incarcerated. They were banned. Hey, extreme measures. These people. If you need health care, then chances are, like me recently, I had to have a chunk of meat taken out of my face. If you need health care, then chances are you'll take the initiative to find it. You'll find a solution to your problem, and if required, you'll pay for it. If it's important enough to you, you'll find the best health care the world can provide. Fix your problem, get it done, attack the problem. However, certain people will require that the rest of us pay for their health care through their taxes. And that's why we see lineups at the doctor's office and we see huge waiting lists for medical procedures. 8, 9, 10 months for a medical procedure that could save your life. Just that wait alone could be the death knell for you. It's called socialism, right? Now, we're going to take this another step. And we're going to take this into the discussion of guns. This banning guns. If you don't like guns, then you probably don't own one, and that's fine. I totally support that if you don't like guns. Right? If you don't like guns, don't own a gun. But the thing is, if you don't like guns, then you probably haven't pursued firearm safety training. You probably haven't learned safe handling drills. You probably haven't studied the Firearms Act or the associated regulations. You probably are ignorant of the laws that currently exist around firearms because you don't like guns. You won't pursue to study that. And if you don't like guns, that's fine. That's your choice. However, a bunch of you out there want guns banned, and a lot of you do. And you want the lawful use of guns sanctioned without understanding the subject. It's just the way it makes you feel. And that's how you'll have guns banned, because of the way it makes you feel. And you'll have people sanctioned based on emotion, not education, not on facts. So an example is a new gun control bill here in Canada called Bill C-71. It's a new Liberal Gun Control Act. And essentially what it does is for example, just one tiny fraction of the legislation. It will prohibit a person who has a history of mental illness from being lawfully possess firearms. See, what people that like to ban things do. I mean, there's certain degrees of spectrums of mental health issues, isn't there? I mean, little tiny ones to huge ones. We know that. However, when you have legislation like this that'll ban things based off something you may not necessarily have control over, then what it will do is it will stop you from pursuing mental health. to help you with your problem because you're afraid the government, who obviously will have access to your medical records, very intrusive, by the way, you probably won't pursue mental health to help you with your problem because you're worried that the government will take your firearms, your property away from you. How is that good for anyone? When we ban things, we have an effect on the population that we may not necessarily know how we're affecting people because of our micromanaging, people control, domination tendencies. I like to try to make these videos in one. I don't like to do more than one take, so you'll have to forgive me if I every once in a while stutter here. So, based off issues that we may not necessarily have control over, so people may not get help because they're afraid their government will take away their property. What kind of a free country does that to its citizenry? When the government says, trust us, we won't abuse this power if you give it to us. Let me tell you, that is a warning signal we all need to listen to. So how about this? Let's banning things. Let's have a debate. Let's talk about these things. Not shut down the House of Commons and just pass legislation through. If you want to banning things, go to this petition down below. Bill C-71. Petition to close it. It's a huge petition. People all over Canada, gun owners and non-gun owners alike, are tired of this. Right? This is Canada. We're not Syria. We're talking about Canadians. Some of the best law-abiding people in the whole friggin' world. Why are we beating on them so hard? They're fantastic people. Hit the link down below. Bill C-71. It's insidious. Don't let them pass it. It's the Rifle Trader signing off. Hope we're all doing well, and as always, Maple Leaf up.